Mono.Ferus is already up 1 game. If they win this, they will be moving on to the semifinals, but they will have to get through this second game first. And 4Not, you know, they saw how big of a threat Diana can be in the mid, so we may there you go. I was gonna say it's likely. There it is, first ban straight out of the gate will be Diana, and then Rengar followed up by Mono.Ferus.
Yeah, Rengar is just insane in the jungle. They kind of missed a couple of ganking opportunities for Rengar in the previous game, but you know, even so, banning it out, and we'll see where 4Not goes. You know, if they can get that Jace, that would be nice. But
yeah, it would be.
We'll see what kind of how Kikumi does in the jungle. Actually, I don't remember if Kikumi is a top laner or a jungler, because One Bad Bread has been a jungler for 4Not predominantly in the past. But
yeah, we're gonna find out once we get in there.
I don't remember which team was Kikumi on.
Oh man, trying to go through my head.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might have been on Choppa in the car, but I can't really remember.
Sounds about right.
But we'll see where they go. Banning out Alistar, Shen being banned by Mono. They, right now, I think they're kind of deciding whether or not they want to leave in that Katarina. I think they really need to ban the Morgana. I think if you ban the Morgana, you don't have to worry about the Katarina quite as much, but they're going to leave it open. And I honestly, I think the better way to ban out that strategy is banning the Morgana, because, you know, the Katarina's fine as well if they're comfortable with going against that bottom lane, but if you ban the Morgana, not only does it ruin that really dangerous bot lane that Mono has going, but it also ruins the comp. And first pick, Jace is open, Mono leaving it out for them. Nice guys, Mono. Want to see, you know, Brad on that Jace, but we'll see, you know, how he can do. That is the champion that he was able to, or they were able to win against Supers with, and a lot of it was the pressure he put on with Jace. After he got a couple of items, he was able to poke them down. He was able to split push. He was backdooring. He was, you know, all over the map.
Yep, Skarner open, Morgana, of course, open. Gonna be grabbed up immediately by Muffin Cutie right there. So gonna be seeing the Morgana support once again. Katarina's been banned, Skarner's open. Sona is also open, but with the Morgana pickup, we're not likely going to be seeing that. So 4Not could also grab the Sona here. Rumble being taken here by Mono. Top lane going to be going with him most likely to try and match up against the Jace.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting pickup, because I would assume, I would think that Jace would have an advantage in that lane, a pretty significant one. So we'll see how that lane kind of works out for him. You know, now recognizing that Morgana is likely going to be in the support, they do want to pick up the Ezreal. Ezreal is a very safe pick. You want that mobility. You want to be able to escape. They missed it last game. They had the Varus, who did pretty well in that bottom lane. Yeah. But having the mobility on Ezreal will definitely help them out a lot. They're probably going to want someone mobile in the mid lane, but they'll probably hold off right now. So they really want to probably grab their jungler or their bot lane. So knowing they're going up against the Morgana, it's probably going to be a heavy AoE team when they run the Morgana. That's what they're running. They already have Rumble. It's probably going to be a heavy AoE team from with a single target DPS, like Draven or like Varus. So they need to keep that in mind. Janna gives them the potential to counter out that AoE a little bit with the ultimate. Also, if the shield goes on to Morgana, like we saw last game, Janna can ult away Morgana and not have to worry about that ultimate. So that kind of helped them out a little bit. However, they will go with the Soda. Sona gives them a little bit more burst, and the physical damage from Sona can work pretty well against, you know, the Morgana shield and just eating through it.
Yep, and while Janna can disperse everyone with the ultimate, having an AoE line stun is also pretty good also in response to something like that. And we've also said many times before that Ezreal and Sona is one of the bossiest lanes in the game, and if Afromu goes with this, next time I see this man, I'm just gonna give him a massive hug if he goes with Twitch. And he's the kind of guy who would do that too, but to Draven, stick with what works. Worked very well last game, and we've seen it before, so Draven and Morgana gonna be bot lane once again. The AP mid still left to be decided for Mono.
They know what they're getting, though. They know the burst off potential that Draven has. Ezreal, he won't be able to duel with Draven quite as effectively as Varus could. I mean, he won't have the damage, but he will be able to exchange harass pretty significantly. He will be pretty safe. As long as Sona doesn't get picked off by Morgana, that's going to be key. They should be really safe in that bottom lane and be able to, you know, just farm evenly or exchange with them. Now we'll see where they're going to go. I'm kind of curious if they want to run something more aggressive. They can't run the Evelyn. That was something that they ran that was pretty successful because it's going to be versus Morgana. So that's out of the water. You know, Mordekaiser, again, I wouldn't want to run it against Mono's team, considering you're going into this AoE and whatnot, but we'll see what the pickup is. He's hovering over Syndra, goes with Xerath last second.
Ooh, Xerath going to be coming on in. Going to have quite a bit of range on that dude. So, and this is also a very good poke comp that 4Noth's got going from Xerath with the poke. You got Ezreal with the shots. Same thing with Jace. So this could work out okay. We've seen similar poke comps before. We also saw, we saw like the Trundle mostly with those in the jungle instead of the Maokai. Yeah. But Kassadin being considered here last on Mono.
Well, I was gonna say, you're saying the Trundle in the jungle.
Yeah.
The last time we've seen Xerath, and the only time we've seen Xerath in a long time, was CLG, and Big Fat was playing that Xerath. It's very strong in the mid lane, very powerful pick. It works well against most of the common mid laners you see today, just because of Xerath's range and damage. However, it will be kind of a struggle against Kassadin. Once Kassadin gets a couple levels, particularly once he gets his ultimate, because that mobility is going to allow him to juke and jive a little bit around V-Man, and that's going to be very deadly. So the lack of mobility, again, they still, Xerath isn't a mobile champion, so that could be a issue for them, particularly considering how mobile Kassadin is, and then getting ganks from Lee Sin.
Yeah. And Kassadin is also a champ we don't see a whole lot of either. Like for the past few months, at least pretty much on our stream.
Yeah,
Legion
is the one guys I can remember.
It's almost exclusively Legion on our stream at least that we've seen.
We've seen a couple other guys like Ocelot's played some Kassadin.
Some, yeah.
Different things like that. But yeah, he has dropped off pretty drastically.
Yeah, he's still one of my favorites too, but just, and that's the thing too, Kassadin does have a very rough start. He's not, his mobility in his kit really opens up once he gets 6, once he has that ultimate, but until then, he's just a melee range AP mid, and if you have someone with a lot of poke like Xerath, it can hurt, but if you survive to 6, if you make it there, you're usually fine.
And he should be okay because Xerath doesn't have enough kill damage until he hits 6.
Right.
He can harass a little bit, but he really doesn't have enough with just his regular Qs and Es. So we'll see how that kind of factors in. But I think Mandatory Cloud, he has that lane on lockdown. So, the range, like you said, they do have kind of a poke team. They have a lot of mobility with the Sona. Maokai, he's going to give them some of that frontline protection. But we'll have to see what 4Noth's game plan is. They are looking for that range damage. They have a lot of burst with Xerath, lots of AoE. The only concern is they need Mono to group up, and I'm not sure that they're going to. Kassadin doesn't want to group up. Morgana is going to play near the front line, whereas Rumble is going to play near the back with Draven, and Lee Sin will also play near the front line. So they have kind of a team that can split a little bit, which is going to make it difficult for Xerath to get enough damage.
Yep, and even if when they do, you have a very good sniper squad coming in from Mono also. Like Draven with a single target, Kassadin can be wherever he needs to be for single target damage also, and then you also got Lee Sin. He can just leap on in and do a whole bunch of mayhem if he can get his kit off also. So it's kind of like a whoever strikes first kind of deal going on here. It's like whoever fires off the first shot. If they can manage to get a kill in quickness, that could really change the fight. But then again, we still have the laning phase to go through also. So, Sona Ezreal, is 4Noth in a better position here in Game 2 than they were Game 1?
Yeah, and we talked about that earlier, how it will be a much safer lane. As long as Sona doesn't get caught. If Sona gets caught, she's going to die. There's no question. Draven can kill Sona in 3 attacks, so that's 2 attacks after the snare hits. They're just going to die. One of the things that would be kind of interesting to see is how a pusher goes against Morgana, because Muffy Cutie doesn't actually like leveling his W at all. He leaves it for last. And so not having that pushing, or a good pushing champion like an AD carry could potentially push them underneath the tower and abuse them that way. But then there's the concern that they're going to zone you out a little bit. Most of the runes and masteries are pretty normal. V-Man 7 running some movement speed. But yeah, it is a pretty safe lane. We'll be able to see, what they're kind of trying to do in the lane. Mandatory Cloud, has a nice mix of armor and magic resist to try and keep himself alive. MR 2109, nothing special.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious about the top lane because actually Brad is going to the jungle. So Brad is going to be playing Maokai. Kikumi Please is going to be playing Jace. So that's going to be an interesting matchup because Rumble has a lot of damage. He can 1v1 pretty well usually. However, Rumble's very weak in the first couple of levels. So in that time period, Jace can be very aggressive with the ranged harass and just chasing Rumble out of lane. But then once Rumble does get strong enough, Jace can just switch to melee, get off some quick damage, get the, quick 3-strike in the melee form, and then knock him away with his hammer. And that's just going to be difficult for Rumble to exchange damage. So I'm kind of curious how Balls is planning to play the lane. Because I would assume that Jace is pretty safe in that lane, but we'll see.
Yeah.
One Bad Brad, he has been jungling a lot in the past with 4Not and Alistar and Maokai. Those are his #1 and #2 junglers. So we'll see what kind of pressure he can put on the lanes and how that'll help them.
Yep. And we also mentioned this in passing, game #1 when we were talking a little bit about Rengar, but Rumble, he was a very high win rate champ. Not too long ago, actually. It hasn't been too long ago since he received the nerfs to his kit, and we started to see him lose a little bit in popularity top lane. But I mean, he still is capable of amazing damage here. The ultimate for those team fights is huge, but. Why we've seen him drop off a little bit too. It's like why is it solely the nerfs? Why we haven't seen Rumble here?
I don't think we've seen him drop off that much. I mean, he's still played a lot. Yeah, we haven't seen him like every single game, but we see him in a lot of AoE comps. It really just comes down to who's playing him. A lot of top laners, because top lane is an island, you kind of just pick whatever you feel like. You just kind of, you're like, oh, if I want to play Jace, because Jace is ridiculously strong, okay, then I'm going to play Jace. So I won't play Rumble in those situations. I think it's just the popularity of some of the other bruisers top, because he is still a very strong top laner. We do see him in a number of AoE comps still.
Yep. So here we go, Mono.Ferus right out the gate. If they do win this game, they will be moving on to the semifinals. 4Not, they need to win this one to stay alive. Both teams rushing straight on out to the mid. Pings going down on the tri-ramp area for Mono.Ferus. They may be thinking about a potential invade coming on in. Xerath also looking to get a defensive spot right overseeing the river. And 4Not looking to scatter a little bit, trying to see if they can't get a nice little arc down onto Mono as they're looking to get in a ward straight on out. Smithy going to take some chunk as he's getting curious up the ramp, but he will back off for the time being. He will be okay, but he also wants to get back his health so he can have a nice, solid jungle clear.
Yeah, he's fine. He's not really in a dangerous situation, but both teams have a pretty strong level 1. The bind from Morgana is very strong, but they can 4Not can kite very effectively with the Ezreal, with the Sona. And the burst from Ezreal's Sona as a lane is very strong. So if they can try and wear down Draven a little bit, Aphromoo and Nuff and Cutie coming down, want to make sure that they're not going after the golems. So they're going to peek in at the end. They are pinging the red though, so I have actually seen Aphromoo steal red level 1, but that is very unusual and very risky. So I don't know if they're going to go for that.
But then again, when Maokai, he doesn't very commonly start at red.
Right. No,
so
he's going to be starting top.
Yeah, if they're going to make an assumption, I mean, this is a pretty good one to make. But you can also see Muffin and Aphromoo looking for some rest down to small golems, and you will see that Roshan and Parole are looking to get it. Bind going down onto Sona. That's #1. That's #2. We're counting them off. Number three. On count, dude. You are amazing at math these days.
Oh, one more attack on Parole, and he would have gone down too.
He's forced out of lane already. It's level 1, and bot lane has already been forced out and first blood. Fantastic work from Muffin, Cutie, and Aphromoo.
Oh man, they really very aggressive. I think
you're a little bit surprised too. It's like, wow, 3 hours. I can't believe I was on point.
Yeah, but they, Morgana with the bind being very aggressive. They wanted to stop that level advantage, and that is just brutal.
Yeah.
Draven picked it up as well, so that lane is already won basically. Ezreal and Sona will be fairly safe, but he's going to be a full level behind. So Draven is level 2 while Ezreal is level 1. That is just absolutely terrifying because Draven at level 2 is just as strong. And there's another snare. The exhaust goes down onto both of them if they can just get enough.
Ah, it happens again! They did it again! I'm having so much fun with this one.
Parole is very close. There's the bind once again. Aphromoo flashing in. He wants the kill. The attack. The Mystic Shot misses. He
oh,
Parole is able to back off. Aphromoo, he got a little excited himself. He was just taking the turret a little bit too aggressively. But they are really abusing that bottom lane right now, and he has the Dorans. So that's actually, you know, going back isn't that bad of a situation.
No,
he's going to be able to come in the lane with the advantage. Lee Sin did come in mid to try and pressure Xerath a little bit, but
yeah, next time, Draven, just, you know, keep it in your pants next time and we'll all be fine. No more unnecessary deaths. You're already doing huge in lane.
Yeah, but we'll be able to see, you know, how these guys can progress. I'm gonna actually go back for a second because my mouse was broken. But there we go. So Maokai coming down to the bottom lane doesn't really have the follow-up. Muffin Cutie playing pretty defensively. He's not really missing out on that many CS. He misses out on the cannon minion, but to keep himself safe, that's definitely huge. And he did see him with the Tribrush ward. Lee Sin actually checking it out. There's the resume. So just perfect timing.
Nice.
Oh, man. But
you're good with this, man. You're good.
Lee Sin coming over. He's gonna get the Q. He's actually going in for it.
Does manage to get the Q over the wall. Xmithie looking to do a little bit of harass. One Bad Red still doesn't have red, so Xmithie got that information. Getting the vision.
Blue Wraith, though,
he will steal it. He will take it straight on out. Does not. He does have the smite, but not using it quite yet.
Yeah, Brad used it.
Twisted advance going down onto the Lee Sin. Will be giving up the double buff to Xerath in mid. That is never a good time. Mandatory Cloud, he's gonna have to watch out for a little bit though, because that spam is gonna be coming a little more frequent. Balls getting chunked out huge by Kikomi, please. Looking for the hammer stance, looking for the knockback. Ignite going down also, but will it be enough? I don't think it is.
Just barely surviving. I was wondering if he would have enough time. The clones are kind of long early, if he would be able to trade back. But B-Man 7 is going to absolutely crush this lane now. And Xmithie, he could have just walked through, taken it real quick with the smite and then got it out. I think it was up at the time. I checked right immediately afterwards, so I might be mistaken, but I think it was up. But instead, going down, now before Mandatory Cloud hits level 6, the spam and auto attacks from B-Man will be so aggressive. They are trying to force this lane. The flash in from Mandatory Cloud, the shield in from Xmithie. There's the double Q. They pick it up. Xmithie has taken back what is rightfully his.
I lost my buff. Can you help me find my buff? We found it. Xerath was wearing it, and he got it back. Good for him. Very well done. Nice aggressive flash from Mandatory Cloud 2. You don't, pre-6, you almost never see a cast in flash in aggressive like that, but it paid off very well. Good job, I almost called him MTW. Good job, Mono.Ferus on that one.
They knew Xerath's flash was down. They had, you know, isn't very mobile, so they were able to follow up on it.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting ganking route. Like, it's not something that you normally see. Right now, Aphromoo is playing a little bit defensively, primarily because there's a major wave, so he can't really attack through the wave. He's just going to take too much damage. But now he's going to hit his levels. He's going to be very strong here, be able to abuse them. And they actually might go for this. He's trying to get the kick over the wall, but they are back, so Xmithie won't have an opportunity there.
Mandatory Cloud not quite 6 yet, though, and he used that flash earlier. One Bad Red not going to be able to get the Twisted Advance on him, though. But very close to hitting 6. Ball's taking more damage from Jace there in the top lane. Kiko doing pretty well. Very decent harass, actually, going down onto Rumble. The shield, the scrap shield, is not clearly shielding enough of that damage, but as most Rumbles do, opt to level up the Q, the Flame Spitter first for the damage, so doing very well on that route. And also very smart to start off with the Doran shield, may even pick up a second one to just minimize on the harass.
Doran's shield is such a strong item. On Vladimir and Rumble, it's very common against those physical bruiser lanes because it really effectively shuts down the damage. Having the health, the HP regen, the armor, everything about it. Kikomi, please, actually taking a lot of damage from Balls, and he did knock him back. Maokai is coming in. He does get the flash, the flash from Balls as well, but he gets the knockback. There's the EQ combo. It just barely misses, but Balls should go down. Brad does pick up the kill.
If Xmithie was around, that could have been a very different story, but no, he was actually taking the small golems at the time. Aphromoo getting chunked out, trying to put some harass down onto Roshan, but still has the Axis spinning bind from Muffin Cutie. Not going to land, not going to hit its mark, but still, Roshan still ducking in and out, looking for harass, but is very low on mana, cannot hit those Qs as
Xerath's
often.
coming in, he might be able to get this. He's level 6.
He does have the ults coming out in Aphromoo, trying to run away, but no. Trying to run into the Xerath, and the bind is not going to do so much while he's ulting your face. Muffin Cutie, can you get to tower? It's going to be tricky. Does flash in, looking to juke. Ignite go down onto V-Man, but will the tower be able to take him out? Yes, the bind keeping him still.
Yeah, so nice turnaround there, but 4Not, they're actually in a really good position. They've been using the harass from Ezreal Sona pretty effectively. They've been using the heals from Sona in particular.
Yep.
That's one of the weaknesses of the Morgana lane, not having those heals, which is why Draven, he started off with that Vamp Scepter along with the Dorans, but Parole is just able to wear him down a little bit. He does go down. He's a little bit too aggressive. The shield, though, Xmithy, if he can get the slow, doesn't quite have enough to follow up on it. If he had actually gotten the ultimate, he just had a little bit too little energy. I think he thought he would maybe just would knock him away and not get that kill, but
yeah,
pretty close call for Roshan.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you use that ultimate, as least until you hit the Q, then you ult, then you follow up. But yeah, Roshan is a little bit too close to tower, did not want to risk that one, and it will be falling back. One Bad Brad waiting here in the top lane, expecting balls to dive in on this. Jace is very low on mana, but Maokai the tree is nearby just for the moral support. There you come in for the Twisted Advance balls. Does he have the damage? He does have the ult, didn't opt to use it on that. He saved it. Kill going down once again here. Jace getting the credit for that one.
Yeah, and it's been a struggle for Balls so far. He has a lot of damage. He's able to wear down Jace a little bit, but the quick burst from Jace works perfectly against Rumble, and having that aggressive ganker, like complete turnaround from last game.
Oh yeah.
One Bad Brad is just in so much control of the jungle right now. He's been very effective in these lanes so far. So they're starting out with an advantage. They're okay ahead right now, and that's absolutely huge. And bot lane, despite the fact that it looked like bot lane was going to be over in the first 30 seconds of the lane, they've done very well. The bind, though, Muffin Cutie doesn't have his ultimate, but Aftermoose still gets some nice damage, and we'll be able to regen back up after that.
And still manages to catch the axe despite the distance. Very well done. But yeah, Aftermoose still looking to remain aggressive, has both of those axes rain spinning. Mandatory Cloud did hit 6. He does have the ult. He can be a little bit more mobile, and he can also, if he wants to, go to other lanes, but looking for more damage on the V-Man. Followed up with a Twisted Advance coming from One by Red, forcing the flash out of there. Ultimate going down just in case. And Cassin's very chunked out, very low. And Xerath is actually still continuing to do okay here. And One Bad Brad is everywhere he needs to be this game.
Yeah, but it's interesting, even without the mobility, with One Bad Brad locking him down, Mandatory Cloud's just too tanky for Xerath, and Xerath's damage output is just incredible. Like, a lot of times, most champions, Xerath can 100% to zero them if he gets his full combo off. So he basically got the full combo off. Sometimes you only need half the combo, and that's when it's really frustrating, when you're playing like TF versus Xerath, and he just kills you in like 2 shots. But the passive on Kassadin, getting that magic resistance, not actual magic resistance,
it's percentage reduction.
So you have the damage reduction to that magic damage. It actually was just enough where he actually didn't take that much damage. So actually a really nice turnaround for him, and he is very safe in that mid lane and starting to control that lane.
So after move passing up on the axe, he did want to get that last that CS from the last axe. And now Parole and Roshan, they're looking to freeze the lane. You do, and now you see after move being a little bit more wary. Xmithy looking for free damage down on the V-Man here in the mid, looking to help Outcastin while he's actually wandering up top lane. Looking, could be looking to go for a kill down onto Jace. In the meantime, Parole gonna be past the red buff.
That is huge.
That is pretty big, and those trades now with Aftermoo are gonna be a little bit more into Parole's favor. Balls looking to clear the wave, clearing time and clearing space for Mandatory Cloud to actually sneak on in. And right now, Kiko's not gonna be any the wiser. Still has to play defensive, and this is still a Rumble we're talking about here. But next time he goes in for the kill, it's going to be a little more guaranteed. Muffin Cutie cannot get the bind down, and Kassadin does not get the damage down onto Kiko.
Yeah, but we'll be able to check out, what's going on in this bottom lane. Kassadin still being aggressive there. There's the bind, the ultimate from Muffin Cutie, if he can get it off, just allowing Aftermoon to get in. But Parole is able to trade damage very effectively now. And the big strength of Draven is just how much damage output he has on his Qs. You get that damage over time. Now Parole, he's able to exchange damage evenly, but he still is a little bit safer than Draven, has a little bit more mobility and everything. So that's completely in his advantage. Rumble getting the flash out of there the second he saw One Bad Brad up in that lane. He just booked it. So,
he knows what happened last time. He's not going to fall for that again.
He knows what's going to happen every time that he doesn't get out of there.
So Parole, Roshan looking to push down here in bot. Kassadin coming in from behind. The ward into Tribrush will spot him out, and there he is pinged. Can he get the damage? It's not going to be happening there. 4Not did clear the distance. They are back at tower, and there's not the Mandatory Cloud. Caston, he can be very mobile. He can go to the lanes, but all this great warding is, to an extent, preventing that. One bad Brad's silence cannot get the Twisted Advance in, but the sapling will get a little bit of harass. Muffin getting choked out huge down here in bot. Aftermoo looking to 1v2, is ignited, is exhausted, cannot walk away from that one. Parole picking up on that kill. Very well done. Xmithy, though, can he get something? Anything? Ward down, kick down into Parole. Pursuit with the Q, flashing on in, but here comes V-Man with the ultimate, is locked down, will die in the process. Parole also getting credit for that one. Very well done. And he gets it from a long distance. V-Man, clutch with the Q.
4Not is looking awesome this game.
Yeah.
The number one thing that they need to figure out from the previous game is how they can survive in the bottom lane, how they can try and control that bottom lane. And they've kind of done it. So the Ezreal has worked out well. He's been safe in the bottom lane despite the early advantage for Afremu. And then getting the red buff early on, passing that off, since Maokai doesn't really need it that much. It's allowed him to trade damage very easily. Draven, he's not able to win that matchup easily. Now Ezreal 3-0-3, 86 CS compared with the 78 on Afremu.
A comeback, dude. That is huge.
Absolutely crushing for them to be able to come back like that. They're also in control of the top lane. Mid lane is going to go in Mono's favor, so they have to worry about Kassadin as Kassadin continues, because Kassadin can snowball, can try and roam a lot. But the jungle's working out well. They've figured out their bottom lane as well, and this is a game. We got a game going here.
We got a match. We got a match. And Mandatory Cloud just...
That's right, games are for boys.
Games are... Mandatory Cloud trying to make something happen here, but will be spotted out by the Maokai, trying to get the top lane, and just the opportunities for Kassadin are not plentiful here, unfortunately. Ward's catching him out, other champions catching him out. He just cannot sneak in. He really cannot be the ninja that he needs to be with that ultimate, with that mobility to make kills happen in other lanes. He will get past the blue. Blue is vital for Kassadin to make sure that his pool is up and full, because those teleports, those blinks do not come cheap, especially in rapid succession. He will grab that, and once he has a little bit more mana, he can start to roam out a little bit more.
Yeah, and actually Parole chasing down Afremu, he is very low, down to half health. So really nice damage exchange there. All of the Mystic shots, they go straight through that bind. Xmithy once again trying to be aggressive. Mandatory Cloud actually doesn't quite have enough mana right now, so he needs to get a little bit more regen.
Chill out for a bit.
But this is kind of the point we were talking about last game, of being aggressive. Parole jumping in once again, just zoning off Afremu. This is a point we were talking about where they're actually going to have to worry about the fight happening here. Sona with the ultimate, Muffin Q trying to turn around, the Ezreal ult goes off, and they just want to back off the bind from Muffin Q to get them out of there. So they are completely zoned from this bottom lane. But this is the point that we were talking about in the previous game, where the design of Mono's team, they have a team that can be very aggressive early on. If it works out, you snowball the game, that's great. If it doesn't, they still have a team that is very strong in those mid-game fights. They have plenty of damage with Rumble, where Rumble can control those mid-game fights by himself, basically, and Cassie can snowball. But Xmithy and Mandatory Cloud coming in for one bad Brad. Unfortunately, Xmithy won't make it. They do pick up the kill into Brad, and Mandatory Cloud, he will get another one to help feed him. But
jungle for jungle, right there in the mid, getting caught out there in the rush, and you can also see the damage output capable from Xerath in close quarters like that. Ball's still looking to maintain here top lane. Kiko looking for Chunk, but bot tier 1 does go down. So the wave's going to naturally push out a little bit further into Mono.Ferus' lane there in the bot. So there's going to be some more opportunities for Aftermoo to catch up in farm, just to stay level with Parole. But you'll see now that the disparity is quite massive. A 2-level disadvantage for Aftermoo.
Yeah, and about 1,000 gold advantage for Ezreal, so for Parole. But
yeah,
I think at this point they have a team that can very safely farm and then stall off the game or still win team fights.
That lane, Roshan actually getting hugely chunked out. Did get stunned earlier and does go down at 2 harass coming in from Aftermoo. Parole, though, is getting very low. Aftermoo, if he can get aggressive, he's going in straight on in for the dive. Is also ignited. Will the tower be enough? Yes, Parole. Aftermoo getting a little bit too aggressive here down in bot. Muffin Q cannot land the bind. Ezreal is still coming in. He's low on mana. He cannot shift over. But you do have Lee Sin. You also have Kassadin coming on down for the assist.
Yeah, and it's interesting watching Aframo. He doesn't have a stop button. He's just like, let's go in for the kills, right? And it's actually turning against him. So usually it's worked out very well. Mandatory Cloud trying to get in the bind, does not hit on B-Man, but he still will be able to zone him here. B-Man should be pretty safe here. We'll get some nice damage on Mandatory Cloud, but they are going to be able to protect this dragon. Mandatory Cloud just wants to make sure he can zone them off, and actually he's going to try and steal it. Nope. Xerath cannot get it, but they will back off. But it is interesting that Parole, that safe play with that Ezreal and Sona, they're just allowing Aframo to run straight at them and run to his death. So
it's like it's less work for them to do. Oh, Mandatory Cloud used the ult to try and farm, and with that one bad Brad actually gets on in with the twist advance. It has to flash out just to get the safety. No, it's not going to be enough. Kiko with the long shot Q. Going to be able to snipe out the Cassin. A bit of a misstep there from Ferus. Muffet Cutie cannot defend this. The ult is up, but you are just a support Morgana. You cannot defend against this. Mid-tier 1 going to be going down for not taking that one to the bank. Draven, Aframo still bot lane, still trying to farm. Ball's looking at the remnants of his top tier 1 tower. Coming down as Rumble, he does have the ultimate up. He can dissuade 4Not, but he's not going to be able to get a kill off this. But here comes Lee Sin. They're looking to collapse. Will they be able to get their time before tier 2? Ball's down. Aframo getting very chunked down. Muffet Cutie did fall earlier. X-Smithy looking to defend, and Ball's going on through. Can he make something happen? Anything? Flamespear going down. Parole getting very weak. The ultimate is not up. He did use it. Tier 2 in mid, going down. V-Man taking credit for that one, and X-Smithy getting chunked out by Roshan in retreat.
Yeah, they are absolutely crushing Mono right now. They have such strong early game control. You know, they're 7K gold ahead, actually a little bit more like 6K, but still they're crushing Mono, which is really surprising to see with how strong Mono's been in the past. And it's, you know, everything's going their way right now. Like the Xerath pick, he's able to control the team fights with his long range damage very effectively. And it's interesting that we don't see more Xerath, but the concern is always that he lacks the mobility, but his damage is definitely there. Mid game is his forte. He does, you know, fall off some as the game progresses because you go through your cycle of abilities, and then that's it. You don't have anything else. So once his ult's down, he's, you know, significantly weaker. But I don't know. We'll see if they can continue to pressure in, or if Mono can try and hold him off. Because right now, 4Not, they're looking like they're going to do the unthinkable. That last fight though, where Mandatory Cloud jumped in the middle, it was like you could see it in slow-mo. You could see the thought process, because he used his slow on the minion wave, and all of the minions were sitting there at low HP, and you're just like, oh no, you're gonna try and farm those.
Oh yeah.
And he dives in for it, but really just puts himself out of position. X-Smithy chasing down Keeping Me Please. This is what they needed to happen. They needed to pick up these kind of kills, and they're going to be able to do it. One bad Brad coming up as well, but they're going to be safe here. Xerath's coming up though, so they might try and force this.
Just an advance down onto the balls, throwing down the ultimate to prevent some of the damage, but here comes Xerath. Can he get the damage? Rooting himself down, getting the stun down onto balls. Quick damage, and also to shut down bot lane. Mandatory Cloud helping out a little bit. Going to be helping get the kill down on the Parole here. Aframo, he's pushing up here with Muffet Cutie. Does Muffet Cutie get one of these 6 stuns that we've seen so much of before? Aframo keeping the lane pushed up. Here comes Roshan. There is the bind down onto Parole, threading through the minions. The Cassin's coming down here. Also,
took a second too long.
From behind. There's the ult coming in from Muffet Cutie. Mandatory Cloud with the damage down to Roshan. He has the Ignite down on him. He knows he's got the kill. Walks in, focuses his attention down over to Ezreal. Aframo does go down to process, but that is still a 2-for-1 down bot lane. But you did sacrifice top. Rumble did fall. They did get the Jace. And V-Man and One Bad Brad are looking to push a tier 2. While Mandatory Cloud and Muffet Cutie push a tier 1.
Yeah, they still came out ahead though, even considering you know, that they were able to you know, pick up the 2 kills there. So Ezreal was able to take out Aframo there, just a little bit out of position. They just have so much damage. Draven, he doesn't have a lot of survivability at this point.
No.
But we'll see as they continue to pressure. Getting the second outer turrets, that's really huge, because they have a very aggressive early team. They want to be able to, you know, win fights and then take a significant advantage. So having the tier 2 turrets out, it means they win one team fight, and all of a sudden an inhibitor is going to be down. They're going to be able to push into Mono's base and take an advantage that basically ends the game. They're looking for it. They want this kill. V-Man, he's got the range. He's going to go for the stun.
He's got the stun.
With the follow-up, Balls is here as well. If X-Smithy can get the the shield over, but he's trying to dodge those ultimates from V-Man. Perfect juking from Xmithy, but he finally goes down. I think Balls is in a dangerous spot as well, but he gets the flash off, and now V-Man and One Bad Brad are in a dangerous spot.
Afterbrew actually coming in from behind, down 100 to the Xerath, and the shutdown coming in. Mandatory Cloud getting credit for that one. He can definitely use some of that kill credit. He's now 3-1-1. One Bad Brad has to hoof it either. He does not want to lose that Oracles at this point. Meanwhile, Parole and Roshan back down in bot lane, looking to get the push on, recognizing that the AD is top lane, and is probably going to have to take a long journey back on down if he even wants to defend this. Kiko also here to help in on the push. You got the ward coverage also in the jungle to keep on pushing. Got a nice ward there right by the blue buff. Buffy does get spotted out, and the Jace warding shot to let him know.
I think they're going to be able to take this tower, though. They have a lot of damage.
Close.
Actually, Draven gets the clear, which is a really nice play from Aftermoo. And the whole team is closing in on him. Kassadin as well. If they can get the bind, they might be able to pick this up, but they will just force them out. So the lane is safe once again, but you know, they want to continue up the pressure. They have lost a number of deaths, though, so far. They've gone down from a 7K gold advantage to, you know, only a little over 5K. It was like 6 kills for Mono. Now they have 10. So they're slowly making their way back. Mandatory Cloud in particular is doing very well, and since the early losses in some of those early fights, Aftermoo, he's been playing a little bit more defensively. He's been sitting back and farming, recognizing he can't exchange as effectively as he used to be able to.
So 17-10, it is a 5K gold lead, 5.5. 4Not is in still a very good position, but you are now getting a little bit more farm on Aftermoo on the Mandatory Cloud. They're catching up a little bit here. The Rod of Ages on Kassadin was a little bit later than you normally would see, but you know, that's Kassadin. It's usually it's usually a pretty good item to build onto him. He gets a little bit more tank. He can survive in those fights a little bit longer. But Xerath is straight up glass cannon, and you saw Aftermoo flanking him earlier in the top lane. If he gets cornered, if he gets trapped, he is pretty much screwed. There are still very few options here for Ferus, and you also have this dragon here being started by 4Not. We're heading into the mid game. We're heading into danger territory, and here we go. Bind coming in. Muffin Cutie will not be able to get anything off that. Mandatory Cloud does take a little bit off of that Q. Aftermoo trying to get shots over the ridge. The river is warded, but you have 4Not going to be picking up that dragon.
Yeah, so they will be safe here, but Brad, he's forcing the fight. He will go over the wall. Kassadin's actually pursuing Ezreal in the backline while the rest of them are engaging, and Kassadin, he's a little bit zoned here. Ezreal does back off. There's the Xerath ultimate, but the Draven follow-up, and Balls does go down, but Kassadin trying to pursue, he goes down as well, and this fight is completely 4Nots. Muffin Cutie will get some damage. Aftermoo, if he can take down Parole, that would be huge, but he just doesn't quite have enough. I think he has him. There it goes. But even so, that's a win for 4Not. They have 2 for 1, remaining still a 3 for 4 exchange.
Yeah, so Dragon plus 1 net on the kill. So Muffin Cutie does have to run back home with tail between the legs. Kiko's very low, but with the rest of the team down, it's going to be no issue for him to help throw some damage down onto the bot tier 2. How healthy is it actually?
It's almost full.
It's almost...
they should be able to take it down, though. It's going to be pretty close, but I think they have it. They're going to drop it fairly quickly, so all of the outer turrets down for Mono currently, and then they will be able to back out of there.
Has been destroyed.
And there you go. It goes down. The gate comes up. Kiko and Brad are out of there, and also switching weapons just to get a little bit extra movement speed in the retreat. So the lead continues to extend. Now it's about 8K lead here for 4Not, 21-13, and this is definitely around the point in time where we're hitting the mid game, and one of the big objectives everyone's going to be eyeballing come up through these next few fights will be the Baron. So hopefully we're going to be seeing some warding up in that area from both teams. You got Sona traveling on up. Actually has no wards in the inventory, but you do have a few on Xerath, so he's going to be getting 1 ward right there, hopefully right in front of the pit.
Yeah, and we'll see how Mono can try and control these fights. The concern is they need to get Kassadin involved, and Kassadin was trying to hunt down Ezreal, but Ezreal was able to escape from his grasp. He was able to retreat to the other side of the team. And Rumble, he's just a little bit too squishy. So Rumble and Draven are big sources of damage for them. They're a little bit too squishy in order to match up against the front line for 4Not because of how strong they are at this point. They can just burst them down very quickly, and that's the kind of difficult for Mono to negotiate around. just all of the frontline damage from 4Not is able to control these fights very effectively. But we'll see if they can try and pick people off with Muff and Cutie. If they can control the fights, they have great single target burst.
And you also got, it's going to be a little bit harder too, because one of the big pick-off targets that they're trying to go for is V-Man on Xerath, but he did also recently pick up the Zhonya's Hourglass, so it's going to kill plenty of time for the rest of his team to come back in, collapse, and take out any attempted assassins onto his butt when he's going throwing down those ultimate shots, those huge bits of AoE damage, especially now with all the AP that he's got stocked up. You got the poke coming in from Jace. Warning shots once again down into Muff and Cutie. He does have an Oracles, does not want to lose that thing, but there's a Shirelius pop coming in. You got Xmithie actually shielding on over to Aphromoo in fear, and rightly so. One Bad Brad throwing down the ultimate. Maokai's looking for his target, looking for something to snare, but realizes that now is not the right time. Might as well sit back, get some more poke on. V-Man with a huge Q into the team, and more shots coming from Jace at a huge distance away.
And it's interesting that entire previous exchange, the entire time, 4Not, they were kind of bluffing the Baron, and Mono, they never bid on it, but in a lot of situations, 4Not probably could have just started the Baron and gone for it. Since they had the Oracles, Mono, for a significant period of time, didn't have any ward coverage, and they were just kind of, I don't know, expecting that 4Not was baiting it, but we'll see, you know, how they try and pressure it. They are still hoping that Mono's going to walk into the brush here, and there's really no way that's going to happen, because Mono recognizes if they fight in the jungle, they're just going to lose drastically. So I think given that knowledge, 4Not probably should just go for the Baron. If they just, you know, go for it, if they have, since they have good ward coverage already, they should be able to take it pretty aggressively, and then if Mono does try and fight, they can turn on it.
And even then, you have Xmithie there, like, bluffing the bluff. It's like, oh, you're going to take out the ward. I'm going to queue you. By the way, the rest of my team is totally behind me. Actually, they are split. One Bad Brad was looking pretty engaged. Does get found by Morgana, and Xmithie going down very quickly here. Mandatory Cloud call away from the rest of the team. Also in 4Not can just take this one straight up to the big Roshan. Right out in front. Can you get anything? The ultimate is actually going to miss a little bit too late on that one. But 4Not still in a winning position after that fight, 2 for free. And that is going to be a quick pause there. DC down onto Kiko.
Yeah, I don't know what Mandatory Cloud was really looking for in the previous fight.
Yeah.
I think he was hoping to use some of his AoE damage, so he recognized, all right, he has a decent amount stored up. How many stacks did he have? He had no stacks on his ultimate, but he kind of just jumped right into the team.
Miscommunication possible?
Yeah, maybe. Misclick maybe, but I don't know, Roshan fortunately wasn't able to, or for Mono, wasn't able to hit that ultimate. That would have been brutal if Sona had hit the ultimate onto Rumble. But we'll see how they can continue to press this.
Summoner has disconnected.
And I don't know, hopefully everything's sorted out, but right now 4Not, they have such a huge lead. Like, in a lot of situations you would say this game's over if it weren't for the fact that you can tell they're a little bit scared of Mono still. They recognize that Mono, these are, you know, big dogs now, and I don't know, they're just kind of biding their time. They don't want to push him a little bit too aggressively.
Wait, there is still massive single target onto Mono. You come in with the silence on Kassadin, and if Draven gets his opportunity, if Aphromoo comes in with the damage, followed up by the proper stunner CC, they can still single someone out. If they can manage to single out Xerath, if they can manage to single out Ezreal, Mono can still take a fight. It's going to be a massive uphill climb to do so, but they still can. And in a weakened position, like if you're going for Baron, that could be Mono's opportunity. Hence why they're sticking around so often, but this could be bad. Balls out in front, melts immediately, camped out. 4Not was waiting for it. They know we're still here. They know we're still healthy. They know that Baron is, more than likely going to be, taken here. They wanted to get ward coverage down. Rumble was out in front. He was the sacrificial lamb, and he does go down very quick to the camp of 4Not, and this will be a Baron for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting how long they were beating up that Baron without actually going for it.
Yeah, now they got it.
They finally are going for it. Rumble was pulled out. Lee Sin trying to come in, but they do take it. He drops the ward just a little bit too late. And 4Not, they're in the perfect position to take this game that they've run so beautifully against Mono. They have their regions, so now Mono, they can't wear them down at all. They can't poke them before a fight, but they all are very powerful in a team fight. Ezreal, 8-2-8. He is incredibly strong. I don't know if Mono has enough damage to take them down now. They have enough damage if they are all comfortable in the team fight, but because they're squishy, because, Kassadin's melee and Rumble's melee, and Draven doesn't have a lot of mobility. If any of them are looking to get off their damage, then they're really putting themselves in a dangerous situation. So Mono has a lot of damage that they really can't use right now because of how far behind they are.
Balls and Aftermood just trying to farm here, but yeah, this is pretty much defense mode. And with all the poke that 4Not has, they can front load a lot of damage down onto Mono, forced out some damage on the tower, force them to back, and just pressure out the inhibitors. And you still have plenty of time on the buff to do so. 3 minutes left on that thing. Might as well take a dragon while you're at it. Throwing down the ultimate just to clear some of the waves and get some vision. Also get that top lane pushing just a little bit. And you see Mono, they're camping out right here, trying to get 4Not some of their own medicine, but I'm not sure if they're gonna have as much success right now as 4Not had.
Well, they need to go for risky plays right now. That's what this is. They're trying to make the plays. Draven is hoping to bait the team. They have the ward on both sides so that they can pick someone off if they catch vision of them.
You got Xerath, he's hesitant. It's like, this is a little bit too good to be true, but there you go. You got the vision has been lost, with Mono looking to go in. Can they snipe out the Xerath? No, he's a little bit too wise. The bush is still warded. You got Maokai with a twisted advance. Buff and Q going to be going on. Very quick mandatory cloud. Blinking on over to the opposite side of the forest wall, but right into an Ezreal. Going to be taking him out. V-Man with the kill down to Lee Sin. Draven going down. Jace the only casualty here on 4Not, but it's okay. 4Not in a very commanding position. Rumble the only one to go home. You got the minion wave pushing. I'm hearing some clicks that may be a surrender, and there you go. Game 2 gonna be going to 4Not. We are bringing this one all the way to game number 3, folks.
Yeah, that was the last stand of Mono. They recognize if they just sit back and allow 4Not to push into their base, they're going to lose. So,
yeah,
you know, they just wanted to see what they could make happen. They couldn't make much happen. They weren't able to engage fast enough, and so they were pulled into that tight AoE of the jungle. They really needed to burst down Xerath, but just not quite able to pick it off. And 4Not did a really beautiful job. They were able to counter out the aggression from Mono, and that was the key. You know, getting that nice jungle presence early on really helped them a lot, having the Ezreal in the bottom lane, and they were able to turn Mono's aggression against them for some early advantages.
Yep. We're going to be going to a quick commercial break, going to be bringing you game number 3 in this amazing series. But before we go to break, if you are a fighting game fan, in about 5 minutes, we're going to be starting a stream for the Dead or Alive 5 launch party and IPL finals. If you are interested in that, doa.ign.com. Give that thing a tune in. A lot of great fighting game personalities are going to be there. You got Vanessa, Master, some old CGS pros. Cat Mystic Gun, good friend of mine. She's going to be casting there. So be sure to check that out. Give them some views their way. And we will be back in just a little bit. Game 3. Mono.Ferus and 4Not.